I'm Chris Avina with another episode of American Outdoor News Podcast. And today we have Mark Baylis, the founder of the Valor Clinic Foundation. Mark, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Now, you, God, we know each other a lot of years, don't we?
Yeah. Coming, might be 7 or 8 now, I guess. Been a while.
Wow.
Might be longer than that.
We're getting old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always liked what you're about. You're a very humble and giving man, and your foundation is amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about your background? Your military service and
Yeah, I was going to college when they captured the Iranian hostages back in 1980, and I dropped out of college, joined the Army the day they swore Ronald Reagan in as president, thinking we were going to get our hostages back, and the comic relief of they let them go on my way home from the recruiter station aside, while I was in, I ended up getting married. I think I'm going in for 4 years. I'm going to get out, go back to school. I got married and stayed the course and did 26 years in a combination of as an infantryman and a special forces operator.
So something that started out as a quick stunt turned into a career.
Turned into a lifetime. 26 years, 3 months, and 8 days, according to my discharge papers.
Wow! So you did tours in Desert Storm and
I had been to the invasion of Panama. I was part of that, and had rotated back to the States to an instructor job just before Desert Storm. But I did the initial invasion into Afghanistan in 2001. The Thunder Run into Baghdad in 2003. I went back for a second tour to Baghdad to finish a tour for a colleague of mine that fell on Easter in 2004. And so I feel like I stayed plenty busy. I got to go to Cambodia technically after the Vietnam War was over, but while they were still paying hostile fire pay a few times, and got to do a special ops mission in Central Asia at one point as well. So I had a pretty full career.
You got around, that's for sure. And we always appreciate your service and everything that you gave for us. So you come home. How did you start the Valor Clinic? What actually piqued your interest to take action?
I got hurt in Baghdad. And significant enough that ultimately, when they realized they can't repair it, they put me out of the service on a medical discharge. My retirement orders say medically retired for injuries received in combat. And but the nuance is, in the process, they lost they lost all my retirement papers somehow after I'm out, and so which is complicated, which is complicated because. In theory, I didn't qualify for unemployment because I made too much money in my pension, and I was getting no pension, and assistance from the VA has, at that point, it's much improved now, but at that point, it had a very long timeline to get through the process where you start getting assistance from the VA. So I was in this weird place where I was receiving no income, living off my savings, and eventually my savings ran out. And the VA was billing me for health care for injuries I got in service to my country because They said my income was too high because they were using my last years when I was still in the military service income as the threshold, and it was kind of a zoo. But so with that as a backdrop, I had to figure out how to untangle all that. And what I learned in the process, I started helping other vets with what I learned. And that was 2008, 2009 timeframe. I can't tell you an exact day, but I can remember my stuff finally resolved on the 23rd of December, 2009. And I had started helping them before that. So I just can't remember exactly when, but people started showing up at my door. It became a word of mouth thing. Hey, go see that sergeant major over there. He'll straighten you out. And people started showing up at my house at 10 o'clock at night with homeless vets they pulled out from under a bridge that, hey, can you help Bob? And I've never, at that point, I'd never helped a homeless vet in my life. Well, what exactly is it you want me to do for Bob? Well, he's homeless. Can you help him? What do you want me to do for him? Yeah, and and I just couldn't turn my back on him, and it just started to pick up steam. I'd start calling people and looking around and figuring out what resources were there, and then I'd connect the homeless vet to somebody who housed them, and that started more chatter, word of mouth advertising, so to speak, and by the middle of 2011, I had been volunteering at a food pantry. I stopped volunteering at the food pantry to do veterans full time, and also as a volunteer, and put together a board of directors and bylaws and articles, all those things you have to file. And we got our nonprofit status in January of 2012. And I think the official date the IRS recognizes is the 13th of January 2012. We filed the paperwork on the 10th. We mailed it. On the 10th of January. All the paperwork was officially signed the 10th of January. So we view that as our anniversary. But it was date stamp received by the State Corporations Bureau on the 13th, and that's what the official people recognize. And it's been an adventure. We helped 50 struggling veterans in 2012. You know, that's not a ton. That's, you know, for a month.
And most people do.
Yeah, and but in 2019, before COVID hit, we helped 2,798.
Wow, that's quite an increase.
Yes, it is. And so the growth curve has been like, it has been steep. And word of mouth is our strongest ally. We've in 2014 we opened a homeless shelter. In 2012, the first thing we started to try to do different was we started working with innovative doctors to try new approaches for post-traumatic stress issues. And we finished a 2-year internship working with the most effective doctor that we discovered. God bless her. I love Sylvia, but she is a hippie doctor out there that knew nothing about veteran stuff, but she was brilliant on the effects on behavior of trauma based on personality types. Mm-hmm. And she had her own models for personality types, and that are remarkably insightful. The old hippie doctor, she was nailing it. She's written a series of books, but the one that most applied to us was Don't Bring It to Work. And where she does some discovery things with people dealing with life traumas and how, based on their personality type, the traumas affected their behavior, the protective things people do once they've been burnt, so to speak, right? And we learned a great deal about, if you can cut down the social conflict for the veterans when they come home, their social struggles like homelessness and suicide wane radically. And we started building our own programs. Our recidivism rates are really low from our homeless veterans when they graduate, and our suicide rate from our participating in our Veterans Unstoppable program is still 0. Wow. What may be most interesting, and we started in 2012, so we're a few minutes into it at this point, right? A couple 9 years.
Now, the homeless situation in general is really off the charts.
Yes, it is.
Has the homeless veteran situation grown with that, or?
It depends. It depends where you are. One of the good news success stories that the country, not us specifically, but the country has done well is address the unemployment issue. They put a lot of incentives in for employers to overlook some of the behaviors that the vets come home with that were getting them fired before. There's incentive for them not to fire them. Mm-hmm. And so the unemployment numbers are going down. And our experience had been that the social conflict at home was creating a lot of divorce, and those same behaviors were creating a lot of social conflict at work, getting them fired. And when they had no job and no family, they ended up in the street under bridges. And so we have worked mostly with the social conflict piece. And the part that may be most interesting to your viewers, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I was wanting to say clients and knew that was the wrong term.
Listeners.
Listeners, viewers, the readers, is that part of what we've done is healthy lifestyle changes and conflict interrupters, right? And so we have taught fly fishing as a conflict interrupter.
Wow.
And a healthy lifestyle change. So if they're having a social conflict point that's about to escalate to shouting match, fighting, whatever that thing is, instead of getting mad and leaving and going to the bar, grab your stick, go find some water. If the weather's not good for finding your stick and go find some water, here's a fly tying vise, and here's the materials and hooks, and here's a class. So if you can't, we only teach them to tie one fly because we don't have a ton of time, but we teach them to cast, we teach them to read water, we take them out fishing, how to set the hook, all that, and how to tie a woolly booger. And as something to no, go think. You got all these classes. Just disassociate the anger, find something to take your mind off it. Think through what you were trying to accomplish. What are you trying to accomplish with that argument? Go back and redress it from a perspective that the other person will understand. They do not understand your military approach.
Yeah.
They don't. And that's part of the conflict point. So try it. Think about how you want to bring the topic up. What's important to you should be important to the relationship on both sides. But if you present it wrong, conflict, right? And,
yeah. Now, actually, the fishing is better in bad weather. So you got to figure out a way to get them out there no matter what.
Well, we do not yet teach archery hunting, but we conduct archery events as a healthy lifestyle change and a chance to get around other vets and do something healthy outside, trying to continue to encourage the healthy lifestyle changes. Don't go to the bar. Go out, get some peace and quiet, where you got to keep your mind focused and there's not a lot of bombarding distractions or stressors, and get out and what your audience will readily identify with how therapeutic the woods and can be. Mm-hmm. And we try to capitalize on that. We have 192 acres in Carbon County, Pennsylvania, where we are currently building retreat lodges and things so we can bring them in for extended periods to do both our Veterans Unstoppable program, which is really a course in how to reintegrate to civilian life effectively, and manage the emotional scars of war, because those are the obvious key piece, the PTSD piece.
Well, this is a very, very important program. I just want to take a quick break to recognize our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Underwood Ammo, always a standard of excellence. Phone Scope and Pyro Punny, what a innovative company, always coming out with great products. The Phone Scope, where you can video your hunts, take pictures of your hunts. Pyro Putty is another branch of them where they can, it's a fire starter. You keep it in your pack. It could be something that saves your life. And of course, Hunt of a Lifetime. God bless them. We are going to see a quick commercial from them. We'll be right back.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do, from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstance, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the hardest of times. We can give a glimmer of light and hope in a time of darkness and despair. Join huntofalifetime.org to help make dreams come true, to provide hope for children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Hunt of a Lifetime is a nonprofit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference.
Okay, and we're back, and Okay, so the Veterans Unstoppable program, walk me through the importance of it, how it benefits, and what kind of results you've seen with it.
Well, the results have been amazing. The hippie doctor has been huge in the lives of veterans, but it starts. It didn't all come from her, but it starts with toxic exposures. Toxic exposures. When you get foreign bodies, the brain works more on chemical reactions than almost any other part of the body. And if the brain and the glands, which work a lot on that, are being impacted by toxic exposures, think the burn pits, think the depleted uranium.
So the toxic exposures is something that they've experienced
while they were deployed
in combat.
Yep. And so one of the things, there's a drug called an anti-malaria prophylaxis called mefloquine. It has another name called Lariam in some places, but it's been found to be neurotoxic, and extended taking it, like our veterans take it all the time while they're deployed, has resulted in atrophy of the brain, seizures, and some other problems. But some research suggests that it is the suicide drug and the culprit behind the high suicide rates for veterans. Mm-hmm. And so we incorporate a book from a doctor named Colbert to introduce them to processes they can do with diet and exercise or saunas and things to help their body amplify its ability to get rid of those toxins. We do trigger management and stressor IDs, how to avoid and manage those. We do some personality types and understanding how the different personality types interact with other people. And if you understand your personality type and somebody else's personality type, you can cut down on the conflicts by understanding, hey, I'm a concrete sequential and that person's an abstract random. They're going to be thinking like this and I'm talking like that. I can reduce conflict by doing X, right?
So basically, in a day-to-day, somebody who has not experienced trauma or something traumatic, we're not going to get along with everybody we meet every day, but nope. There is a social rationale that keeps you from acting out.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And it builds if you add, which is where I'm going. I'm building to, now we have the emotional scars of war in play, and those mm-hmm. affective behaviors. People get very abrupt. They get very uncompromising. Oh, no, protective. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. Mm-hmm. And if you can learn to recognize where your aggravating points in your relationships are based on your responses to trauma.
So the tolerance is greatly diminished as far as being able to deal with certain personality types.
Yes, absolutely. And so one of the examples we see frequently, it's not an absolute, they don't all have this problem, but a young veteran comes home from war, say a buck sergeant in the infantry. They're used to managing very complex activities, 24 hours a day, attention to detail, lives dependent on it. And they come, so think the 3D, they have to watch for threats in the city, up above them, around them, 360 around them. It's not a battle line where they're in a foxhole just facing forward.
All of the senses are heightened.
Yeah, they have to manage their ammo, their fields of fire, their team, who's watching where, who's doing what, still keep track of all the people in the street with them while they're patrolling crowded civilian areas, and maintain communication with the rear. All in a constantly evolving situation, and they come home and can't understand why the kids can't pick up the blocks off the floor, or why the spouse can't take care of why the dish was left overnight instead of washed. And they become, because we make no mistakes, people die environment for the veterans, right? And they come home to little things that are, okay, it's no big deal. The kid left the blocks on the floor. But they don't get their mind around why that's so simple. Why can't you do that, right?
So basically, it's like to break it down into what an average person would relate to.
Would think no big deal, right?
In First Blood, at the end of the movie where he breaks down, he was saying he was able to operate $1 million pieces of machinery, drive gunships, and now he can't hold the job washing cars.
Did you read our course? Because that's the next phase after the emotional scars.
Wow.
is planning your future. They feel like they don't have direction, like nobody understands them, and in a certain amount of loss of control and loss of identity. Hey, it was this thing for freedom, and now who am I? Right? And out here, they don't even understand me. They're almost like a lost problem, right?
Yep.
And it's almost like you read the script here, because we, at the last phase, we have them build a life plan with 10 areas of their life, broken down key areas, how they're going to manage their finances, their social relationships, their hobbies, their work, their boom, 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 right? Their health. 10 areas. I'm not going to read the whole life plan here, but you get the general idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 3 goals in each of the 10 areas, plus 3 main life goals. Very often we hear buy a house, but as the number one. But and 3 tasks to accomplish each goal. They leave with a 99 item task list of how they're going to manage and go out and live their life differently.
It's quite a list.
Yeah, yes, it is. And in all areas. And occasionally, one of the areas is spiritual. And occasionally they come up with none there. I don't want nothing to do with God. I'm not going to do yoga. I don't care about Buddha. I don't care about Jesus. I don't care about anyone doing nothing. But as a rule, all the other 9 always have 3. And you would be surprised when they learn to manage the social conflict, they can tone down the effects of their emotional scars on their behavior and get purpose and direction back in their life. Amazing changes. Yeah. Amazing changes. There is always a growth curve across those. And we teach conflict interrupter. I can't begin to tell you how happy I am. TFO gave us status where we get fly fishing equipment at what it costs them to make it, which is a great enabling tool for us. But an example, we recently had a partnership with National Wild Turkey Federation came out and taught classes to a team of our vets that are then going to become our guides to teach other vets, take other vets out turkey hunting, right?
Wow.
China Unlimited often comes, teaches our vets how to fly fish. We actively pursue partnerships to make it better. And
this is all part of your outdoor programs.
Yes, it is, which is part of our Veterans Unstoppable program. It's the last piece in the 5 steps. Manage the here and now, a piece where they're doing some diet changes and things like that. The social conflict, the managing emotional scars, getting purpose and direction in your life, and then the outdoor pieces. Those are the 5. And yeah, and we're currently just coming out of the engineering phase of building a facility just to support, because we currently do them on a day trip basis now because we have no place for them to stay. And when we do the counseling, the Veterans Unstoppable classroom, first 4 phases, we have to rent hotel space and contract meals, which is more expensive than we would like to be. And
so we're in a nightmare as well.
Yeah. In fact, I have the 192 acre map over my shoulder here behind us with some of my notes on it. But we hope to break ground this fall on the first buildings, which will be like maintenance barn type buildings first. And then back around in the spring, we hope to be building the lodge and the dorm where they're going to stay. But it's been an adventure watching, but we're 9 years in, built our programs with veteran input on what works for veterans. And every single one of the participants is still alive or died of other causes than themselves. And we've had some cancer deaths and things, but we've not had any take their own life.
Well, you've been very successful and dedicated in what you do. Now, I know you've been working on a TV show as well.
Yes, we have. Valor's Journey Home.
What is that going to be called?
Valor's Journey Home. And we're trying to blend outdoor activities with messaging. We don't believe that the social conflict piece will go away unless the education, the insight raises on the side of civilians about the veterans, and the veterans' insight into the way they think different than the civilians is raised on the veterans' side, right? So we hope to work in between the outdoor events, the healthy lifestyle change piece, right? Messaging about veterans' experiences when they came back, and then provide some insight to, hey, if you're dealing with a spouse coming home or a child that came home and you just don't understand them anymore, maybe you think about X, because what's normal to them is this. And when they come home, they still think that way and don't realize why.
Yeah.
So when they're doing X, Y, Z, if you know that it's because of this, maybe you can interrupt any conflict or misunderstanding by saying something like that. And
so you're actually helping them redefine their social cues.
Yeah.
Which are obviously drastically different when you're out in the field versus back in society.
Well, and not, it's not just the field issue, but it is. Imagine somebody that's willing to work for less than minimum wage, 24-hour days for a year at a time in 125-degree heat, drinking hot water out of a tube hanging on their back while people try to kill them for a purpose, an ideal, a cause bigger than themselves for others that aren't even there.
Yeah.
And they come back home to society where it's all good. I ain't working 5 minutes past 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
I got shit to do. I ain't doing that. So there is a highly developed sense of responsibility that in civilian terms is mega highly developed sense of responsibility. So you bring home the young sergeant or corporal, and their perspective on life is when they see something wrong, they're supposed to fix it. So it's not wrong when the firefight starts, right?
Yep.
We're all working together. Now they come home and they go into the work environment. They're trying to pre-plan so everything's ready for mission in the morning at work when their colleagues are all wanting to go home. Example of a conflict point, right?
Yep.
Oh, no, I ain't staying. We got to make mission. And and this is messed up. I'm squaring you guys away. And they're going to the boss. I don't work for Bob. Bob's an asshole. Bob's telling me yada, yada, yada. And in Bob's mind,
he's doing the right thing.
He's doing the right thing. He's straightening everything out, but he's pissing everybody off.
Yep.
Ends up fired, not because he came late, not because he didn't work harder, not because he wasn't willing to stay late, not because he didn't do a good job, because the boss got tired of dealing with everybody he was arguing with all the time. And it becomes a thing. And if you can help them understand, hey, look, you had to do that before.
Yeah. People
die if you did. Do you have to do it now?
Now you have a new building that you are under construction with for the general housing.
We have a facility in Ohio that we're currently still renovating. Our teammates in outside of Newark. I don't know if you're familiar with Newark, Ohio, but outside of Newark in Licking County, great deer hunting country, by the way. We're renovating an old schoolhouse at the intersection of State Route 586 and 79. It's a big green, it's an old schoolhouse that's been empty for some time. And we're in the process of converting it to be the Kevin Lannon Veteran Sanctuary. Kevin Lannon was a medic in my platoon in the Ranger Battalion, 2nd Battalion. He was killed in Grenada, and he's originally from Dayton, and not too awful far. And we were honored that we were able to speak with his sister, Marianne, and she spoke to the rest of the family and gave us the nod that we could name it after him. And
that's an honor.
Yes, it is. And he was a great guy, one of the funniest guys you ever want to meet in real life. It was disappointing to lose him. What a great guy. And he was killed when the helicopter was shot down in the raid on Calavigny. And but yeah, we do a lot of homeless outreach there now in Ohio, in Newark and Zanesville primarily. We do a little bit into Mount Vernon, but we are going to get our facility open here in the not too distant future. It is, and we have some things going where we've been pretty steady doing the Veterans Unstoppable program in North Georgia, and we just did a small class in Tennessee outside of Fort Campbell
Well, you've expanded tremendously since we last spoke.
We have board members now in Dallas, Texas, looking to start doing our homeless outreach in Texas. We have the one in North Georgia where we've been running the Veterans Unstoppable program there. We have a series of graduates scattered around Tennessee from our Veterans Unstoppable program that have encouraged some of the other veterans in Tennessee and us to come down and do like a mobile course for them. And we still have 2 board members in North Carolina that have been going a little slower than we'd like, but I think things are going to pick up there as well. And it's been an adventure. COVID was really hard on our team in New Jersey. We have been doing really well in New Jersey, and now what we're doing is holiday meals distribution. 3 times a year we go out and avoid the trigger point of missing holidays on days when the enemy likes to attack us. We don't want the veterans that are financially struggling, choosing between taking their daughter to the dentist or celebrating the holiday. So we make sure they have everything they need to celebrate the holiday. We've done as many as 300 families at a holiday, and it's 21 meals a box that goes to the veteran's house. And
wow.
If they cost about $125 a box. It is a very expensive program, but it's a very gratifying program when you know the outcomes, and it's one of the ones our volunteers like the most. So
how can people donate to your program?
During COVID, the best we live on grassroots donations. When people aren't working, they're not donating as much, but $5, $10, $20 goes a long way with us. About 90 cents on every dollar that comes to us goes right back to the cause. I have some overhead things I can't change. You do a motorcycle run, you have to raise money, you have to buy a pig and some drinks and yada yada. I think
everything costs money.
But you have to cost money, and it doesn't count as going toward the vets.
Yep.
But we believe an average of 90 cents on the dollar is good. Our best year we did 93 cents on the dollar, and our worst year we did 87 cents on the dollar. So
it's still good.
I call it we average 90, but it's an adventure. But we have a couple things that people don't think about. We give away about 300,000 clothing items to the homeless in the street every year in an effort to find the homeless veterans. With that as the backdrop, I go through more blue jeans. I never have them. Waist size 30 to 38 for men, varying heights, but we don't have a lot of really fit homeless vets. We don't. And women's sizes 2, 4, 6, 8, same type of thing. You can't state outdoor, like hiking type of shoes. You never have enough.
So people can donate clothes, canned goods.
Yeah, particularly more stew or small things, a V8 splash. We try to deal with the malnutrition problems. And V8 splash, those little jars of it can be consumed in one serving, so they don't have to be refrigerated. Okay. They're high nutrient because they're really fruit and vegetable juice. And the Dinty stew in the 20-ounce cans, it becomes their bowl, the pot they cook it in, and everything. And it's shallow enough. If you do the tall, skinny 16-ounce cans, the bottom's burned because they can't stir the bottom.
Yep.
The shorter, fatter one, they can stir the whole thing, and then they can eat the whole can versus throwing half of it away. And the challenges of living homeless are much different than most would think. If you go camping, you take the stuff you need. Hey, I got this stove, I got that. I'll bring some pots and pans. The homeless don't necessarily have that. It's a different way to live. Metal spoons. The plastic spoons we give at our homeless outreach events, we call them stand downs. We give out a bag of what's supposed to be 9 canned good meals per person. If you put a plastic spoon in there, the cans break it. If it is fortunate to make it back where they're staying, when they stick it in over the fire, they have a tendency to plastic has a tendency to catch fire and melt and fold over. So we try to give a metal spoon with every meal. We don't do forks and knives because eating out of a can, you don't really need a knife, right?
Yep.
And forks, everything leaks through at times. But those are things we do a lot of: outdoor shoes, Dinnemore 20-ounce cans, and blue jeans, and V8 splash drinks.
Okay. All right. And what's your website, Mark?
www.valorclinic.org. They could follow us on Facebook at keyword Valor Clinic.
Okay. Well, I want to appreciate everything you've done for our country and everything you're doing for our veterans. Words can't even, thank you enough. It's amazing what you do.
Thank you for having me, sir, and I appreciate it. We got to go fishing one of these days instead of just talking on the phone. And
well, if you have one of your hunts coming up and you need an extra body to help guide, I'm always up to go into the outdoors. So
can I add one thing? We got our next, if there's a veteran watching that would like to go fishing with us, our next fishing event is the 12th of September. We usually start 7, 8 in the morning. Is when we start getting everybody together. There's a lot of social aspect to it. There's people out there cooking breakfast on the grills and lunch and everything. It becomes and the 13th of October is our season's first archery hunt, deer hunt day, and the 13th of November is our second one. So the next 3 events for this year, healthy lifestyle outdoor events, are the fly fishing on the 12th of September, archery hunts on the 23rd of October and 13th of November.
And these are all in Pennsylvania.
We would love for them to reach out to us through our Facebook page or our website. And
these in Pennsylvania?
Yes, they are in Carbon County, Pennsylvania. The southern boundary of our property is the westbound lane, Interstate 80, and the northern boundary is State Route 940, a little bit east of Whitehaven.
All right. Well, you can definitely count me in, and well, you can always count on me.
Well, I appreciate you, and I don't know if there's anything else you want to ask me.
I think we're going to wrap things up for today. Definitely subscribe to American Outdoor News podcast and magazine, and go to the valorclinic.com. You can make a donation. You can volunteer your services. Help Mark out. He's a good man. Thanks again, and hunt safe.
Thank you.